Can our loved ones in heaven come back as earth angels?
We're going to share a couple stories that we think help answer that question. And at the end of this video, we're also going to include a really fun, simple practice to help you live more connected to your loved ones across the veil. So make sure and stick around.
So this is a story that was sent to us by Tracy, and I'm just going to read it word for word how she sent it over. My name is Tracy, and in 1982, my mother passed away at the age of 44 from breast cancer. I was the oldest, 21. I am 65 now and still cry about losing her. In 1985, I got married. We were pretty poor, so I decided to rent a wedding dress. I drove an hour to Montgomery, Alabama, parked, and entered the little shop. I kid you not, the lady assisting me was the absolute spitting image of my mother. I couldn't speak. I was just stunned. She helped me pick out a dress, pinned it for alterations, and we set a date to pick up the dress. When I returned, I looked for her. She wasn't there. I asked about her, but they weren't sure who I was talking about. Never saw her again. I swear that was my mom. This was 41 years ago, and I still have a hard time believing what I saw. Miss her so much.
That story, the first time I read it, my whole body just was covered with goosebumps, and I get that every time. I've read it now a few times, and then just listening to you read it, I felt the same way every single time. It's an emotion comes over me, and I have no doubt. Like, I don't know how they do these sorts of things, but I believe that her mom had something to do with that experience.
For sure. And the fact that it touched her life so much during that special time in her life when she really wished her mom was there. And she will remember that forever, and it's just really cool.
And the unexplainable part is how nobody at the shop knew who she was talking about. I mean, I'm assuming that whatever year that was,
1985,
in a little shop in Alabama where she was renting a dress, that there probably weren't tons and tons of people working there. I could be wrong. But for them to not know who she was talking about, just for me, explains away any sort of coincidence, or I guess gets rid of any sort of coincidence or possibility that it was not her mom.
Mm-hmm.
Like that does it for me.
Yeah, and just how she felt on the day too. It wasn't like after the fact. She really reminded me of my mom. It was like she literally says she was stunned and couldn't speak and whatever. I mean, that's the feeling where it's something real and not just like coincidental.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that story reminds me of one that a woman named Judy sent in to us. Do you remember that story about Aiden?
Mm-hmm.
So I'm going to reshare that. I've told it on our social media pages on Instagram a few years ago, but I'm going to reshare it here because it has stuck with me all these years. It's just a really powerful story, and just like this one, I don't know how they do it from across the veil. I don't know how they can show up as sort of an earth angel for a moment in our lives. And, you don't hear these stories often, so it must not be super simple for them to do, or we would all have these sorts of experiences. But when you hear these stories, they're just really powerful and really special, and we're honored to share them. So this one was sent in to us by a woman named Judy about her dad named Jim. And he passed away when she was 27, I believe. And she was having her second child when she was 33, a little boy named Aiden. And she was in the hospital, and she was having a difficult time with the birthing process. Her husband was videotaping it. Both of their moms were in the room with them. They were all getting ready to celebrate, and then there was a problem. And Aiden was struggling, and they couldn't get him out. And she remembers that her husband stopped filming. I mean, it got very serious very quickly. And the doctor wanted to use a vacuum to help get the baby out. And Judy says that there was something inside of her that told her that that wasn't safe or that wasn't the right thing to do. And so she was telling the doctor not to use the vacuum. And he was really pushing her to do it because they needed to get the baby out quick. But she said she just kept following her gut and she begged them not to use it. And they said, okay, we'll give you one more chance, one more contraction to push this baby out. And if not, we're going to be forced to use this vacuum. So when this is getting ready to happen, she's about to have the contraction, the room is full of nurses. And this new nurse walks in and she's dressed in all white and her name is Diana. But I don't think the mom noticed that at that moment. I don't think Judy noticed her name. That comes up later. But this nurse comes in and she hands Judy a towel. And she says, I'm going to hold on to one end and I want you to pull really hard on the other when you're in your contraction and push as hard as you can. So Judy does that. She kind of bears down on that towel and she pushes as hard as she can. And the baby comes out just enough for them to realize that the cord was wrapped around Aiden's neck. And had they used a vacuum, it would have not been a good situation because he wouldn't have been able to breathe at that point. So they were able to get the cord out from around his neck, and then he was able to be birthed the rest of the way safely. So now the room has settled down. It's about a half an hour after Aiden had been born. And Judy was holding Aiden, and she's looking at him, and all of a sudden she realizes that he stopped breathing. And it was just, I believe, her and her husband in the room. And so she said something to him like, he's not breathing. And her husband grabbed him out of her arms and ran him to the nursery that was just down the hallway. And there was that nurse in all white in the nursery. This is a really powerful story. So he says the baby's not breathing, and the nurse says, sometimes babies get confused with the nursing reflex, the breathing reflex. When they're trying to do it all at once, they can stop breathing. And she said, do you mind if I work with the baby with a bottle and just make sure that everything's going okay? And he said, sure. So she gets the bottle, she's working with him, and Aiden is doing great. And so she worked with him for about half an hour, 45 minutes. He was doing just fine. And so they sent him back to the room with Dad, and Dad tells Judy that it was that nurse, and that's when they found out that her name was Diana, because he was talking with that nurse in the nursery for 45 minutes and found out what her name was. So he said the nurse in all white named Diana was in the nursery, and she helped, and Aiden's doing just fine now. So now the regular nurse that is in the colored scrubs that nurses wear a lot of the time, there's even a picture of her included in this video, but she comes into the room and Judy says to this nurse, can you ask the nurse Diana if she can come into the room, because I would like to thank her personally for helping me so much with the delivery and now with Aiden in the nursery. And her nurse says, I don't know who you're talking about. And she said, well, her name's Diana and she's in all white. And the nurse says, there aren't any nurses here. There's nobody on staff that wears all white. We all have colored scrubs like me. And they were all so confused. Even the two moms that were in the room were looking at each other all confused because they all witnessed this nurse in all white named Diana come into the room and help deliver Aiden. And so then Judy says, well, it's the nurse that's in the nursery right now. She just helped him. And the woman says there's no one in the nursery tonight. It's a really slow night. All the babies are with their moms in their rooms, so the nursery is closed down for the night. And that was just over the top. She was so confused. They were all confused. But Aiden was good. They went home, and she's nursing Aiden and rocking him in a chair in his nursery. And this was, I believe, a few days later. And she's thinking about that experience and how kind of wild it was that they couldn't explain how Diana, this nurse, came in and nobody knew who she was. And anyways, as she's thinking about this and she's rocking in the chair, she looks across the room, and on Aiden's dresser are those wooden blocks, the letter blocks, and it's his name, and it's Aiden, and it's A-I-D-A-N. And as she was looking at it, she realized that if you rearrange his name, the letters of his name, you spell Diana. And in that moment, she just knew that it was somehow her dad and that he found a way to come and hold his first grandson that was born and help her and kind of save him. And she just knows it. And of course, I believe that for them to do that, he's not going to walk into the room looking like himself, because that would have, maybe it wouldn't have gone the way that they would want you for it to go, because she would be overwhelmed by her dad being there in his own presence. So they find a way to come in their own special look and different body and whatever. And I don't know how they do it. I mean, for me, that story and the story about the dress is just about as magical as it gets. It's about as amazing as an experience that you can have with your loved one across the veil. And I don't know how they do it, but I believe it in my heart. I believe that story is true. Both of those stories are true. I don't think the people tried to twist them. They just know in their heart that is, like, she knew that was her dad. And just how she was thinking about it as she looked over and saw the blocks. I mean, just the timing of all of it, for me, just lets me know that this sort of thing really can happen. And I accept that.
Yeah, we have, countless stories that have the same feel, where somebody showed up and at the end of the story, nobody knew who they were or where they went. And they came to help every time. It's always they've come to help for some specific reason. Like with Diana coming to help Aiden or whatever, he was struggling. There was a problem. Like she said, if her dad had showed up as himself, what's he going to do? They needed someone, a nurse, someone that they could trust, that they would allow to help. Some random man shows up or her dad shows up, they'd be completely thrown off, So the fact that he showed up in that way and actually helped, like legitimately helped and knew what needed to be done. I mean, it's pretty powerful and pretty awesome. So
yeah, like
all these stories, there's going to be people that hear these and just coincidence them away or say that people aren't being truthful or whatever happened. But, it's like, that's not the truth. These people aren't gaining anything by sharing these experiences. It's just magical things that have happened to them in their lives. And it's brave of them to put that out into the world, even anonymously or whatever, because like these stories are so special. Those people that they put them out there knowing that there's going to be some criticism or some people won't believe or whatever. And it's like, that doesn't even matter. It doesn't matter who believes and who doesn't. It's like, these are your life experiences, and these are like magical things and important moments in your life. And it's like, that's what we're doing here, is sharing all these things. And like the most important thing is, like, we can't care what everybody thinks about it or if everybody's going to believe it or whatever. It's the ones that get some hope out of it or get a good feeling from it. Like, that's what really matters. So
yeah. And we promised at the beginning of the video that there was going to be a practice that will help you live more connected to your loved ones across the veil. So if you would like to try that, I'm going to describe that to you right now. So I just learned about this because I'm also into manifesting. I think manifesting is just a fun concept, and I try to do practices that have to do with manifesting, beautiful things into my life. And how I was always looking at manifesting is that you were kind of stepping into the energy of whatever it is that you were wanting to bring into your life. And what I realized is that, or what I just learned, is that if you picture it in front of you and you're always stepping into it, that means you're never going to quite reach it because it's always in front of you. So I heard that you should think about it as a memory. So instead of something in your future that's going to come to fruition, envision that it already happened like yesterday. And the energy of that is different because you're not hoping and wishing and praying that it happens. You're just at ease because it already did. And so I can see how this can help us live more connected with our loved ones across the veil. Because let's say you've been wanting to receive a sign from your loved one and you feel like you've been asking and they haven't shown up and you haven't seen the signs and you're not feeling connected, but you want that. So I'm just encouraging you to think about whatever it is that you want them to bring to you. If it is a sign, think about something specific and unique to your loved one that would let you know without a doubt that they showed up in your life. Now, picture yourself receiving that yesterday. So how did it make you feel? Did you tear up? Did you laugh out loud? Did you thank them for showing up? Did you ask them to do it again? I mean, really picture it, smell it, see it, just feel it. Just really be in the moment that already happened, that you're already living super connected to your loved one. And you can do this visualization every day if you want to. It's pretty short, it's pretty simple, but it's just putting that energy out into the universe and out into your universe and your aura that the connection has already happened. And so I believe that'll help it, help you welcome it into your life more easily. So you can give that a try. It's been a fun thing that I just learned about, and we've been doing it as well, and we've been having a lot of fun with it.
Yeah.
Thanks for being here at Living Connected for 11 minutes. We really appreciate you guys showing up week after week. We're going to keep posting these videos, and by the time this one posts, I think we're going to have our 411 community up and running, and we're really excited about everything that's going to be offered inside of that for you guys. So you can check out the description of this video to find out more about that and see if there's anything in there for you.
Yeah, it's going to be full of all kinds of cool things, and hopefully it's just going to grow and get better and better. So it's been a long time coming, a lot of work, a lot of hours put into it, and it's going to be pretty exciting to put it out there and see if you guys like it.
Thanks for being here.
Thanks, everybody.